Welcome back, everyone, to the final part of this Christmas fan mail unboxing. I'm actually recording this a couple days after Christmas, but better late than never, I guess. And as I mentioned when we left off in part 2, we'll start by taking a look at these Bachman Thomas items. I'll grab Thomas first and we'll look at him, and I don't think I need to say it, but you can probably see for yourself this Thomas is in a very sad state. First thing I noticed was that the wheels on this were messed up. You can see that the side rods are actually bent, and I noticed that this bottom cover was not on right. I'd say somebody's been in here because this screw has not been put back in the right place. And given the way this is right now, I definitely have to say this Thomas probably is not a runner. I can almost guarantee it, to be honest. But also 3 out of the 4 buffers are missing. The dummy hooks are damaged. I'm kind of surprised the lining on this is in as good a shape as it is. You can see there are some nicks in the body here and there. A little bit of paint loss, especially around the cab roof and what have you. But yeah, this Thomas has definitely been through hell and back, I'd say. I did have it suggested to me by a few people that I should see about trying to fix this and make it a runner again. But to be honest with you, I would not personally try to keep a Thomas that is in this state, because just considering the way it looks right now, who knows what the mechanism was put through in its lifetime. Chances are I'll probably just use this Thomas for parts, just take it apart and salvage what I can from it. But yeah, you really wonder what this thing was put through. As for Harold, though, I was looking at this. Condition isn't too bad. Yeah, the rotors are a little chewed up, but I think that's minor damage, really. This does have some scuffs here and there. I think those would clean up without too much trouble. With Harold, I'm actually tempted to do a little bit of work with him and actually add him into my HO scale collection, because, I don't know, this is honestly the first time I've ever been exposed to the Bachman Harold, and I quite like the look of it. So, yeah, I think Harold's got a promising future, but like I said, as for Thomas, chances are I'll probably just use him for parts. Now, these are quite nice, and what I have here is a Bandai James and a Nakiyoshi Salty, which I believe Nakiyoshi was kind of a knocked back version of the Bandai's. But we'll look at James first, and the reason I'm saying this is a Bandai James is because you can see it has side rods, and I don't think the ERTL Gold Rail ever had that. But also, when looking underneath James here, you can see it says Bandai 1992, and I believe Gold Rail would have had ERTL somewhere on the bottom of it, and that word is nowhere to be found on this. But condition of James really isn't that bad. Yeah, there's a few scrapes and scratches here and there, a couple paint chips. The nose looks to have been basically beaten around, I'd say. But, James, again, the condition is not too bad. The only thing I'm a little disappointed about with this is that James is actually missing his dome. Other than that, I believe he is pretty much complete. That is something, it's just a shame that is not there. But other than that, James is pretty much all here. I can't see anything else wrong with this. And, again, a little bit of paint chipping, but it's not, it's nothing that I'd basically consider this model to be a write-off. But as for Salty, again, Nakiyoshi, you can see he doesn't have side rods, and this is pretty much plastic, I'd say. There's not really any metal to this. You can see that Nakiyoshi used basically a pin and eye system for the couplers, and take a look at Salty's face here. Oh, that kind of looks like the character, I guess. But, I don't know. The Nakiyoshi stuff, I'm just not that into it, really, compared to the Bandai's and what have you. But I'd say Salty does look decent. I forgot to look at the bottom here. 2010 Glenn Thomas Limited. See, and there's another thing. The Nakiyoshi stuff is China. It's not Japan. So, yeah, I mean, I guess the Nakayoshi characters, they do have some similarities to the Bandais, but, I definitely regard the Bandais as more superior. Douglas also sent me this Thomas Wood Celebration Thomas, which, okay, I guess this is actually a birthday Thomas. But I'm looking at the wheels here, and I'm seeing a date of 2012. That's a bit odd. I didn't think Thomas Wood came along till 2017, 2018 maybe. But yeah, he sent me this as a curiosity because this is one of the ones which was not fully painted. And I mean, just it's so weird. I do have one that's fully painted just down there on the workbench, but yeah, looking at this, I mean, it just looks wrong. This is the first time I've had one of these in my hands, and I will say that it's got a good feel to it, but just the overall look is, well, I guess wrong for lack of a better term. But, it's a nice curiosity to keep. And I'll just bring up the other Thomas here so you can, do a little comparison between the two. But again, it does not seem right. And it's definitely not as good as what preceded it, in my opinion. Yeah, this one's a little more simple. This is a 2001 Thomas, by the way. But, simple sometimes works. And, you put them down here on the workbench next to each other, and, it's no contest. I can tell you which one that most people would pick. Now, this is one of the All Engines Go metal engines, which I was struggling to find, being Toby. And needless to say, I'm quite grateful that I have this right now. I'm not going to pull it out of the box at this time, but I will try to give you a look at it in the box. And, it's kind of crazy that you can't find this in the store, but you go online and you're paying upwards of over $20 for it. Back of the box looks like that. I don't really think there's anything to really shout about on the back of that. But, I'm really thankful that I finally have Toby for my All Engines Go metal engine collection. And like I mentioned before, I'm trying to collect these main characters, but I'm not really interested in any of the side characters from All Engines Go. Now, these are a couple curious pieces, and the first one here is a Trevor card, which originally I thought this was a collector card, but when you look around on the back here, I noticed that it actually has right here, Thomas Race Game, Move Force Spaces, so apparently this is out of a board game, I'm going to guess. But you can see the card basically gives a little bio on Trevor and then also a fun fact. And I quite like the Trevor artwork on this. Maybe if somebody knows more about the game that this comes from, you can talk about it down in the comments. But then there was also this caboose, and I originally thought this was a pencil sharpener because that's what I remember this as. But here I come to find it actually has a pullback mechanism in it, which honestly I think is broke because it doesn't want to stay in place there. And I also noticed that this traction tire is split. So, I don't know. It's just a cheap plastic fantastic mechanism in there, I guess. But yeah, like I said, I remember this being a pencil sharpener. I saw a few of these when I was in Stroudsburg at the end of October, and they were pencil sharpeners. My guess is that basically what they've done here is instead of putting the pencil sharpener inside this, they just put this pullback mechanism. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, this just feels cheap and kind of lets down the quality of this metal shell on this. And lastly is this Thomas Wooden Railway Yearbook, which I believe this is 2005. I notice we're celebrating 60 years of Thomas and Friends, so, 60th anniversary. And as always, I will show a little bit of what's in this yearbook. I won't show everything just because of, how long it would take. But you can see we got a 60th anniversary Henry and a 60th anniversary set for this year. Definitely have memories when these became available. And then also some new stuff for this year as well. I noticed we got some non-sentient road vehicles. I remember everyone was saying Mattel was kind of trying to push road vehicles there with their new road system and what have you. But I'll jump ahead here a little bit. Here's some more stuff that was, well, not really new, but available at this time. Here's some play sets. You can see what's all there. I remember the A Day at the Work set. That was quite nice. I always wanted that one. More sets here. There's the Boulder Mountain set. Again, that was one that, for some odd reason, had road pieces in it, despite the fact that you didn't have a road vehicle that could run on them. The 100-piece sets, I believe. I think those are 100-piece sets. But, yeah, some buildings and such. Map there. I'm just trying to browse through here real quick. I'll jump ahead to the layouts. But, yeah, these were some of the layouts you could make. And definitely have memories of looking at these as well. But I suppose that is it. If anyone wants to maybe see a video dedicated to just looking at this yearbook, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Because I forgot to give an update on my portrait packaging collection back in part 1, I decided I'd go ahead and do it now before I wrap up part 3. And certainly got a few new additions thanks to Douglas here in this unboxing. And I've definitely acquired quite a few ERTLs in the portrait packaging over the last few years. And, you know, I do have hopes to at some point get all the characters that ERTL ever did in the portrait packaging. But keep in mind that although I do have Edward and Mavis in the portrait packaging, these ones have some problems. So at some point I am going to have to look into picking up those characters again. But yeah, I mean, I'm quite pleased with the way my portrait packaging collection is looking so far. And again, hopefully at some point get the entire collection of characters that was out there. Well, here's one final look at everything together that Douglas sent. And again, I was quite surprised at just how much came out of that box. I was not expecting this much. But just a quick recap. Obviously had quite a few ERTL pieces. A lot of it was in the packages. And of course, some of it had a couple issues. But also quite a bit of capsule play rail pieces here in varying degrees of condition. A little bit of take along and a little bit of, well, we'll just say more recent Thomas merch. Some Bachman stuff, a little bit of Wooden Railway, a little bit of Bandai, some Nakiyoshi, Thomas Wood, yeah, and now that little guy. But yeah, I mean, I can only imagine though how much Douglas could have made selling some of this stuff, especially the ERTLs at the back there, and the fact that he just decided to gift them to me instead. You know, it's really appreciated. And I mean, Douglas, if you're watching right now, definitely a big thank you for all this stuff. And really great to have you as a friend and a viewer here on YouTube. And definitely looking forward to many more years to come. But as for everyone else, that is going to be it for this fan mail unboxing. Again, it was quite a long one, but definitely enjoyed every moment of it. But until next time, I'll catch you all later.